Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Dhamma of Peace Series number 4. Wrong and Right Views. Ditthi, Samma Ditthi. In a previous Dhamma talk, we discussed about 10 kilesa. When one's mind is purified of 10 kilesa, one attains arhatship. Because you remember, conceit and restlessness can be uprooted only at the stage of arahant. But to uproot them, one must know the cause of kilesa emergence or arising of kilesa. If you don't know the cause, you cannot eliminate them. All these mental defilements arise from faith in eternal soul, Ditthi, and belief in personality, individuality, or self concept, Sakkaya Ditthi. So these Atta Ditthi and Sakkaya Ditthi are the main causes of the arising of 10 kilesa. One who follows the eternal soul concept, Pali Atta Ditthi, believes that all-powerful Mahabrahma, or some call it the Great Soul, first created the physical universe. When the universe conditions suited beings, he created bodies and installed eternal souls. When the soul leaves the body dies, and the soul goes out from one of the doors. There are 9 doors. 2 eye doors, 2 ear doors, 2 nose door, mouth, 7, and there are 2 doors in the lower part of the body where number 1 and 2 takes place. They go out of one of the doors and migrates to the next life into a new body. And the soul in various lives must do good things, wholesome things, so that they can get a better existence in the next life or the following life. So this is the transmigration of soul. This transmigration of soul from life to life into new bodies till one reunites with the great soul is samsara, according to the definition of samsara. The soul that the Brahma created and put it into the body, they have to go round and round, up and down, body to body, must do good things. Of course, some souls do bad things. That means they go back to the lower existence. But if they consistently do the good things, eventually they reunite with the great soul. That from the point of creation to reuniting with the great soul is a samsara for that soul. In other words, the whole thing is eternalism. Nothing dies. The soul doesn't die. It exists forever. So we can call it eternalism or atta ditthi. The view of the concept of the soul. Self, Sakkaya Ditthi, refers to a person, an individual, me, my, I, and you. All these are self, one we call self. Person exists, individual exists, I exist, you exist. It is the identity of existence with id and ego, and act as if one will last forever. That is Sakkaya Ditthi, the concept of self. I don't have the proper knowledge of all Theravada Buddhist countries where self and soul are supposed to be understood and seen as natural phenomena. I don't know all countries. But most people in Myanmar, where I was born, existence is called Vijnana or life. Burmese adopted a lot of Pali words. That's why they call it Vijnana as Vijnana or life. That's existent. But most people talk about life and death like this. If I have to quote them. The same person dies and rebirth occurs in another life. The key point is the same person. That's a key word. He died and he was reborn. That's something like that. The same person dies and rebirth occurs in the next life. So, from that, if you look at it, there's nothing much different from transmigration by the way they talk. Or they would say, I want to be reborn in the Deva Ram. I want to be reborn in the Deva Ram. Or I want to be reborn as a wealthy and influential person. Those are the wishes when they wish. Some people actually wish that way. I actually have heard some people say, this person is my great aunt's husband in the previous life. They are talking about a specific person, and they say, he or she is the husband of my great aunts in the last life. And they will try and point out whatever little evidence that they have to support their claim. That is how they talk. So, the sense of such conversations pointed out that the same person is moving from one life to another based on one's karma. Because of the karma, they are moving from one life to other. But the key is the same person. They took it as the same. They have a sense in their conversation. They are referring to the same person. It is not much different from eternalism. They are a little bit confused and try to mix the two, eternalism and Buddhist perspective of non-self concept together without having much clarity. Because of that, their conversations came out that way. So, from that point of view, Sakkaya Ditthi and Atta Ditthi, concept of self and concept of soul, are the same, but uses different presentations or approaches. Concept of self, eternalism. Concept of soul is eternalism. So, you can say they both are the same, but their presentation, their approach to the eternalism is different. That's it. Now, let's see how Buddhists define samsara. Buddhists define samsara as the continuous appearance and disappearance of mind and matter from life to life through the law of cause and effect. Yeah, the consciousness goes on, but it is not the same consciousness. The consciousness from this life and the consciousness in the next life are two different consciousnesses, but they are connected through the law of cause and effect. We are talking about this life and next life. In actuality, even in one life, moment to moment, consciousness are arising, and every consciousness that are arising are different from one another. They are separate, they are individual consciousness arises out of a condition, disappear. And that disappearance is the opportunity for the next consciousness to arise. That's what I mean by it's operate through the law of cause and effect. The so-called permanent soul, individual or person, from the Buddhist point of view, is nothing but a process, a phenomena. So let's take an little example and try and see what it means. Suppose someone comes and taps you while observing the lifting movement of the foot. You are doing a walking meditation and observing the lifting movement of the foot. Your mind is focused right there. But when somebody tapped on your shoulder, you become startled. So, the knowing mind of the lifting is one mind, one consciousness. And the startling mind is another mind, another consciousness. They are two different minds or two different consciousness. Each are conditioned by the environment. Most people believe I, the big I has existed since birth. I was born and I'm here. That is what it means by I has existed since birth. This is because we are not watching the mind and matter constantly. We just move on, doing whatever that we are doing. We are not actually watching the mind and matter closely. But if we do watch the mind and matter closely and constantly, we will see they are constant, passing away with the mind's eye. Not your physical eye, with the mind's eye. You will see them, consciousness arise and pass away, arise and pass away, arise and pass away. Each consciousness is the product of the conditions. And whenever the conditions change, the old consciousness disappears and then new consciousness arises. Okay, let's see how the mind becomes defiled. Let's pick up an example. Let's say a ballerina was dancing and she believes, I dance well, I'm tremendous, or I did terrible, it's lousy. After the performance, that ballerina show happiness and satisfaction if it is good and great, or frustration and dissatisfaction if it is lousy. Why? That is because she identifies, one identifies the dancing with self. Me, my, I. My dance. I am dancing. My dance. Identify with I. That's how she views at it. And as soon as she views that way, you become happy or you become sad or frustrated based on the performance. But if the dancer feels, sees, and takes dancing as a series of stretching and bending movements, there will be no happiness or aversion or frustration, because the dancer is not identifying dancing with self, but with bending movement, stretching movement, patterns, how it's choreographed. The ballerina is now identifying, not identifying with self, but probing right into the actual movements of bending, stretching, and patterns. And at that moment, there will be no happiness or frustration. Simply, here it is. I can improve here. Here it is. This should be cut out. To see the whole process and see how it can be improved. No happiness, no anger, no frustration. So we can say, the wrong view of self. Now, self or soul, the Buddhists call it the wrong view. The wrong view of self or soul is the cause, and the mental defilements are the effects. Kilesa are the effect. Wrong view is the cause, kilesa is the effect. Okay, let us use another example and see. We'll use this time the foot. We take our foot, your foot, my foot, as mine or ours. This is my foot, this is your foot, this is our foot. In that case, the foot becomes the identifier of self. When you say, my foot, it's automatically talking about self. When you say, your foot, you are talking about yourself. Self. Or self, or a person, or an individual. However, when we observe the foot constantly and closely in walking meditation, we will experience pure movements without the form or shape of the foot. You will only sense the movement, but not the shape and form of the foot. The foot is nowhere to be seen. The foot is not in the field of your awareness. So, one does not take it as the my foot's movement, my movement. But simply movement, because all that you know in your field of attention is movement, not the foot. So you don't identify that movement with the foot. That's why you don't identify the movement with self, but purely movement as movement, because that is all that you are aware of at that moment in your field of attention. So at that moment, one has no identifier and is free of personality, individuality, or self. And what is that personality, individuality, self? Is Sakkaya Ditthi. And soul is Atta Ditthi. In other words, at that moment, the person is free of Sakkaya Ditthi or Atta Ditthi, the view of self or the view of soul. Vipassana insight, that is establishing at that moment, eliminate the wrong view. Why is the wrong view gone? And that is called Vipassana insight. Knowing movement as movement. Nothing else. Nothing less, nothing more. But most of the time, when we are not in that zone, we go back to the normal mode, everyday mode. The mistaken view, the wrong view takes over again. So, for a fleeting moment, we are free of that wrong views, but most of the time, we are back with our old mistaken view. The view of non-self, no soul. The understanding of non-self, no soul, becomes permanent when one attains path wisdom. Megha Jnana. When once attained path wisdom, that view becomes permanent. It's a part of you, a part of your understanding all the time, regardless what you are doing. Here, we are stressing on this eternalism, self or soul. There's another view we need to discuss about. Another wrong view, let's simply call it out, is called annihilation view or concept. Annihilation, in Pali, Ucheda Ditthi. What it means is, one comes into existence from nowhere and disappear into nothingness at death. That's it. That is Ucheda Ditthi, annihilation view. The danger of this view is that as one is not responsible for any actions, you come from nowhere for no reason, you go to nowhere from no reason, so whatever you do is all stop. The consequences all stop. One is not responsible for any action one has taken. And if that's the case, one is more prone to do evil than good and bringing the society to chaos. That's why there will be a lot of criminals and wrongdoers. Oh, we can escape this. Okay, this is a loophole. And they did it because they know how to dodge around the law or rules. If you got escape, you pay, but right here and now. But if you escape, that's it, you got free. This doesn't go on to the next life because there's no next life. So this concept will bring chaos to society. From Buddhist perspective, both eternalism and annihilationism are incorrect, wrong. The continuum of existence is a series of new minds and matter connected by the law of cause and effect, generated by karma. However, the process will cease through insight, jnana or wisdom, achieved by constant observation of the mind and matter of the present moments. By doing so, you can stop that process. May all of you be able to practice or observe mind and matter closely, constantly, and correctly, and may you be able to eliminate the wrong views and understand Samma Ditthi, the right view, the process, the phenomenon, permanently, as soon as possible. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you very much.